right, let's get
Saturday.
back to work, please. All right. Items for consideration, Commissioner Connor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would move for the approval of transfers and disbursements. Approval of prepaid invoices in the amount of $4,305,931.22. Approval of claims in the amount of $151,348.48. Approval of commissioner reimbursements mileage in the amount of $331.89.
Moved by Connor, second by Gibson, for the approval of the prepaid invoices in the amount of $4,305,931. Approval of claims in the amount of $151,384.48. Approval of commissioner reimbursements or mileage in the amount of $331.89. Discussion? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Connor.
Yes.
Geiger.
Yes.
Gibson.
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Smelker.
Yes.
And Wayne.
Yes. Items are approved.
Madam Chair, I would move for the adoption of Resolution 20-17, a resolution to establish and provide for the Middleville Wastewater Treatment Plant Improvement Project and matters related thereto.
Moved by Connor, second by Parker for the adoption, to approve the adoption of Resolution 20-17, a resolution to establish and provide for the Middleville Wastewater Treatment Plant Improvement Project and matters related thereto. Discussion. Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Geiger.
Yes.
Gibson.
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Smelker.
Yes.
Yes.
Wing.
Yes, the item is approved. Unfinished business. Today we have with us Eric Hackman and Chloe Bailey Ludecki, there we go. For the final review and approval of the Sheriff's Office and Jail Bond Millage Information Material.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Hope you're able to take the time to
Talk really loudly. Oh,
There you go.
Perfect. All right, so the first two smaller pieces are the same brochure that we reviewed last time. I've just added the trifold option like we had talked about. So the information just reflects some changes in conversations that we had with your lawyer and with Michael, and some suggestions that we talked about here. Addition that you will see in the trifold is an option to go to the website and look at the existing facility layout and compare it to the modern jail design, which is something that we had talked about last time also. You'll notice that the gray box is for a QR code, so someone could just scan that and be taken directly to the website to compare the existing layout with the same layout that's in the inside of the brochure. The newsletter, well, I'll skip the newsletter and go to the poster. The poster reflects the same changes that are in the single fold brochure. The newsletter has had some more substantial additions, including feedback from Sheriff Leaf on his letter, the movement of the existing facilities conditions to be the second page with the addition of an option to go to the website to view the existing conditions, The FAQs have been edited based on our conversation last week. And same with the configuration options.
Try to use your mic, please. He does. It's okay.
Now, okay. To view the existing facility layout and compare it to modern jail design, use a camera on a smartphone to scan this QR code. So you're gonna put a QR code in there then?
Yep, where the gray box
Okay.
is.
All right, okay. All right, just wanted to make sure.
This is jumping ahead, but one thing that I do want to talk about today is a URL for the website. The one that's in the materials now is just a placeholder. It's Barry Jail 2020, but we can change it. I have a few ideas, but I'd like to hear what you think also. Once we have that set, then we'll be able to put the actual QR codes in.
Anybody have any other questions for?
What are your other ideas for URLs?
Barry Co. Bond 2020. I think the co has to be in there because I was thinking Barry Bonds 2020 is probably going to be confusing. But yeah, Barry Co. Bond
I think
2020.
that's too many O's.
It is a lot. 2020 doesn't necessarily have to be in there, and if you keep it out of there, it could be reused in future elections.
Mm-hmm. I would probably go with the Barry Jail 2020.
Any other ideas? Any other comments?
Still own BarryCountyElections.org. That's the one we used at the for the COA election.
Right.
If that's available, we can use an existing domain.
Do you think it's better than Barry Jail 2020?
What was the,
BarryCountyElections.org.
does that have some recognition? Did it get a lot of traction?
Yeah, it got, a couple thousand hits.
If it's something that people are familiar with, then yes. If it's more specific and just more direct to say Barry Jail, then I would suggest sticking with something that has to do more with this. But I already have that other one in their histories, then we can move that to that also.
I think Barry Jail 2020 will work.
Questions or concerns for Chelsea or Eric? Did we get the frequently asked questions in the right order for everybody?
In terms of the number of mailings, you've done some cost estimates on how much it would take to mail to the county?
So initially, I contacted the clerk's office, and they helped us identify the number of registered voters. But we think it's imperative to try and get this information to all of your tax base, considering that somebody could register days before the election. So to get the information to them as well, we went through the treasurer's office, which directed us to your IT department, and Dave was able to help us identify a number of non-homestead residents and try to then collate that with potential renters as well. So we're going to cross-reference that with the registered voters list and get rid of all the duplicates. And we're estimating probably around 28,000 mailings overall that would need to go out to get to all of your residential tax.
I can speak to the cost of that. My suggestion would be to start with either of these documents as a mailer. For those to be printed, they are about 16 cents each. And the cost for mailing is about 30 cents a piece. So the total for mailing one of these brochures, 8,000 people, would be $12,854. The cost of printing the newsletter is more significant. It's 63 cents each, so I would suggest, just making sure we're on the same page, this newsletter. So I would suggest printing around 1,000 to have in your county buildings and to hand out to people who are curious or want more information. And then the cost of printing posters is something that Tower does in-house because it's a little less complicated, and so we will print these for whatever businesses want them on a thicker paper. Yeah, yep. Yeah, those are the quotes from the printers.
Are you going to get, excuse me, are you going to get some of the smaller or now?
Yeah, we can definitely order more. Yep. Yeah, definitely.
How many times, I'm sorry, John, go ahead.
On the mailing of, say this one, I think it's about 30 cents. That going to be, I see it's a nonprofit, so is that through the every box, every day type?
Yeah, that is the cost for the bulk mailing for every house. If you do a targeted list, then it's a little more expensive, but yes, from my research, it would be 30 cents. But I have found that it varies from district to district and from county to county, but not very much.
Okay.
Question for the board, how many times do we want to hit mailboxes?
What, $12,000 a pop?
Yeah,
That's a lot.
12,000 a pop.
I think we budgeted 20. I think we budgeted $20,000 for mailings, but that won't get us, that's not enough for two. I think we should hit twice.
Well, the second time, we wouldn't have to hit the same population. We could narrow it down to
Right.
a different,
People who voted in the last primary, or last general election.
Yep.
That would narrow it down.
narrow it down significantly.
If you narrow it down and put an address on it, then it costs more.
Yeah, but it's still under 40 cents.
So you can find a way to maximize the budget, right? We don't want anything left on the table.
Yeah, but if the first mailing goes to every household, more or
Okay.
less,
All right.
and then a second mailing would go to all those that were registered in the last general election, we're guaranteed to hit the ones that routinely vote. But that first one will catch those who just decide this year to vote.
Okay.
Now, the last general election 4 years ago?
Yeah.
Didn't we have a,
We had a general election 2 years ago, but this is a presidential election, so you draw more people during the presidential election.
right, but we had a ballot initiative 2 years ago that brought a lot of people out that had never voted before.
Yeah, there was 3 issues on the back of the ballot that they voted for and nobody else.
But I mean, but that was a good
Good turnout?
good turnout, thank you.
Yeah, you just say if you voted in any of the last 2 general elections.
And this is, excuse me, basically neutral for us to be able to pass out.
It's not basically neutral, it is neutral.
Okay,
Yeah, it's just information, right?
okay.
It's been confirmed with your lawyer.
So we can put these in our township offices and,
Mm-hmm.
anywhere that
Mhm.
we feel.
I thought, yeah, I would like some, when you go to your meetings and stuff to pass out. Our meetings, not just yours, sorry.
Somebody mentioned one time about mailing them out with the tax notices. I don't know when those are mailed out. And I don't know if you could do that.
Be late. It's a good idea.
Now, the first one would be box holder, right? Or would there be an address on it?
I would have to check with your local system. I don't believe there needs to be an address on it if it's going to every house.
Right.
What, when would you send it?
I would send it very soon. Absentee ballots are supposed to be going out within the next 2 weeks, so I would suggest getting it out in the next 2 weeks.
Microphone.
Or your house. You
Or
have a
rural
mailbox
route,
at the end
yeah.
of your driveway. Yes. So there'll probably be some people that never get mail because, they don't like to be accountable for stuff. But do we have budget for this in the paper as well? Or are we just going to trust that the local media is going to use our materials?
I think we should put something in the local paper. It is the local paper.
And do we want to just presentation, or do we want to do something different?
You
No.
could make this information into a newspaper advertisement, couldn't you?
Yeah, I would substantially cut the amount of information, really hit the key points, and then include the QR code.
That would be a huge benefit. Dan? Well, they have covered this extensively since we started this project over 2 years ago. But this would, if we're paying for it though, we're insured what goes in the copy.
Right.
No offense to our local media, but if they're writing the story, they're writing the story from their perspective, not necessarily the information that we want to portray or have communicated to everybody in the community. If we pay for an ad, we get to decide what goes in the ad, not necessarily what goes in the article.
So I would say,
Whole center spread right there.
right.
Is
Let,
that what you think too? The whole center spread right here.
Or yeah, well, in this
It's
one,
a-
it's the question.
it's a great layout. I mean, it's informational, it's engaging. It tells the story of what's gonna go on in the new facility.
Ben, does a reminder go to everyone in Berry County? Because you can put flyers in there, right?
Yes. He asked if the reminder went to everybody in the county, and the fact that you can put inserts in there, and yes, it's available to everyone in the county. Not sure that everybody reads it.
Probably you need one in their mailbox,
Right.
thus. But I don't know what would cost to say, slide that in a reminder.
Well, I think the easiest way to move forward is we send out the big mailer, in a couple of weeks, ASAP. I think, when do ballots go out, Pam?
They
have to be in the hands of the local clerks by the 19th.
So we send a,
And-
they're gonna send the AV ballots probably that week to their lists. So, sent the 19th. And then, once we find out how much that costs, we'll know how much money we have left. We'll have to figure out how much money we have left after this mailer. I would, go ahead, John.
Wasn't me, Mr. Hoop.
These mobile home parks like Meadowstone, they don't put these reminders in their mailboxes. They just leave a stack of them and people
Yeah.
take them. And that could happen at every a park, like the one in Middleville, the Meadowstone. So those places, they don't get individual reminders. They're left a stack and the people
That's,
pick them up.
that's why one mailing is.
So
not
everybody
throughout the
might
box
not
order.
get one that way, but I don't know how you could
So-
do anything about that.
So Dan, all those voters that would, pick up a reminder would be receiving it in the mailbox anyway, so we're covered there. Traditionally, you don't do, advertisements until closer to the election in the newspaper, though.
Yeah,
They get forwarded, though, don't they?
Not the reminder.
Not the reminder, but they're mailed.
And this won't be forwarded either, bulk rate. Just first class gets forwarded.
Yeah, but how many of those snowbirds will get their absentee ballot by like the 20th of September vote and then run?
Yeah. That happens.
A lot. I think that our numbers for permanent absentee ballots are up across all of our townships. So I think we'll see a lot of people vote early.
Agreed.
Any other concerns?
The materials look great. Thank you to Tower Pinkster for your expertise on this.
Yeah, it's a whole lot of work I didn't want to do.
just to clarify, did you say that every box is the 12,858? Thank you.
And if Sheriff Leaf is here, I know we have a letter from him. We could probably stick around afterwards and get his signature. You can turn that into a SVG or.
Any other concerns? Eric, do you have anything for us? All righty. I like hearing we're ready to go. Do we need to approve anything or make a motion to approve anything? Are we just ready to go with this?
We already approved the budget items that we had for that, didn't we?
Yep.
I think so.
And I think are we in agreement that the trifold is the one that should be sent out?
To discuss is the trifold or the bifold.
Trifold's cheaper.
They're the same cost.
Oh,
Oh, they're the same cost?
might go with the bifold then, because when you pick up your stack of mail,
That's gonna get lost in it.
trifold gets lost. Bifold actually stands out a little more.
Yeah. As long as it's the same cost, it's the same material.
Do we want trifolds to hand out? Or do we just want the newsletter to leave a stack here and there for people to peruse?
I like the trifolds.
So if we,
Trifolds to hand out, bifolds to mail.
yeah, it's just easier because I have to carry so many different things. I think that the trifold format, it'd be great for us to hand to somebody, the bifold to mail, and then just, some of these we can strategically place for people to read up. I think the QR code is great for the tech savvy people.
You're right.
But I think this is gonna be beneficial to those of us that aren't tech savvy.
The QR code is not on the bifold.
No, it's not. I think I would put it on the back.
Oh, you could?
It's not on this one yet, but I would put it on there.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna say this. I'll send you a very final copy because there's still some things that need to be
Right.
confirmed. So this is not the final.
That's fine. I think that'll help with people. It's just like having a virtual tour of some place, being able to do that. And you'd be surprised at how many of our seniors know how to do that because of their kids being at the fair and their grandkids showing them, hey, but grandma, do this. So we might be a little more tech savvy than we think. So I guess the question before the board is to approve the final drafts of this informational material and get it going. Would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, moved by Smelker, support by Gibson for the final approval of the sheriff's office and jail bond millage information material. And authorize Tar Pinkster to proceed as discussed. How's that sound?
I have a question.
Oh, discussion.
Thank you. Tell me where these go again?
We will have like a stack of them to put in our county buildings to be able to hand to our township officials. They won't be for, to distribute to everybody, but we'll have them strategically placed in
Okay.
areas of importance. And then we will have the trifold ones to hand out to people while we're discussing things throughout the fall. And then this one will be in the mailer. We will also use some of these posters to put up in the store or the library or other places where we can access a bulletin board.
This would be great to have when you go to a township meeting,
Agreed.
explain it, and then be able to hand out the brochures with it, so.
Or when they ask you a question and you don't remember the exact answer, you can look it up.
And this one's got Dar's picture in it.
It does.
Is that a plus?
Well, I don't know, it might keep the mice out of your car.
All right, I have a question. The existing facility conditions will not be discussed in the bifold.
Is it in the trifold?
I'll add it to the bifold
Where will you add it?
on the back under the. I'm just gonna rearrange the absentee voter section.
Yeah, I would say have more of the existing facility conditions in this area. It's not as imperative to have the absentee voter information.
Yep.
Do we have anything on what it has cost us to maintain that in the last?
I do. I
And
did some
possibly,
research.
that $500,000 roof is coming.
All right.
Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, the question before the committee, or the board, is for the final approval of the sheriff's office and jail bond millage informational material as presented and authorize Tower Pinkster to proceed. All those or the clerk will call the roll.
Jackson. Yes. Parker.
Yes.
Smelker.
Yes.
Connor.
Yes.
Geiger.
Yes.
Gibson.
Yes.
Wing.
Yes, the item is approved. Thank you, folks. We got a lot of work to do. They're just printing the paper. We got to do all the legwork. Alrighty, new business. Is there any new business to come before this board? None. County Administrator's Report.
Good morning, thank you. I will be last board meeting, or last committee meeting, I guess it was, that I didn't think we had any budget appeals. We do, I was incorrect. We have two. do those budget appeals first, and then we'll do a budget workshop immediately following that. So should work out very well with just a couple of appeals. That shouldn't take long. Just wanted to report that the revenue sharing, if you recall, there were three major state grants through the CARES Act that we had applied for and were following. One had to do with revenue sharing. The August revenue sharing payment was being withheld and then replaced with 1.5 times the amount in CARES Act funding. We have received that, so that's been confirmed and completed. The public safety reimbursement grant is the second source of CARES Act funding. We have not received any word yet on that, nor have we received the funds. We were notified by Treasury. I say we, just as a big announcement, that the $200 million allocation that the state made did not cover it. There were more requests than there was funding, so we will get some prorated share of that. And if you remember, again, that is the reimbursement for payroll. Does not affect employees at all. It affects us. So I have a Treasury webinar this afternoon. I hope to get some further information and detail on that. And then the first responder hazard pay premiums program. We did apply for that following the board meeting and your approval. Have not received any notification at this point other than that that Treasury did receive our application. So we will continue to monitor that, and again hope to have some additional information after this afternoon. Otherwise,
Sir, just how's your dad doing?
he's doing well, thank you.
I know he's drawing your attention away from Hastings a little bit.
Yeah, yep. He had the right knees coming along well, and in 2 weeks I'll be off a week again, the week of the 21st, for the other knee to get replaced. So
As long as you guys are enjoying your time together.
Yeah.
Still.
he hasn't kicked me out yet. So,
Well, you can only do that with one foot right now.
no,
Thank you,
that's,
sir.
Thank you for asking.
All right, chairperson's report. As you know, it is September, and lots of things happen in September, including going back to school. And today is the first day of school for Berry County Christian. We have social distance. We are sanitizing. We are not enjoying. At least the hour I was there this morning, it was horrible. My hands hurt already. That being said, it is still full press for harvest. There are a lot of extra vehicles on the road, and now that it's raining, it's going to be muddy and slippery, so please slow down and drive safe. That tractor you're passing is blocking your vision, and tractor and or truck. You have no idea what's around Berry County's many windy roads. I have seen multiple stupid decisions end in near-death experiences. I've seen way too many cars in the ditch, wrapped around trees, all because somebody's in a hurry. That farmer you may be passing could be related to me, and I would prefer that he comes home safely in one piece, and so does every other farm family in the county. They feed you. Be nice to them. Just like you're nice to the lady who signs your check, be nice to the guy who's growing your supper. I have Assyria Township tonight. They postponed their meeting because of the holiday yesterday till today. And that means I also have Baltimore Township tonight. And we were supposed to have our first volleyball game, but because the governor said we can't have games till tomorrow, we had to reschedule it. So that makes it nice. I can go to my meetings and practice. Other than that, it's full speed ahead. We've got a lot of work to do. Commissioner Connor?
Thank you. I tried to attend the Berry Kalamazoo SISMA for the invasive species on the ground, and I had everything right, but it wouldn't let me in. So, and I just couldn't get in. But I called Fallon later to ask her about the rights of way, and they were all treated. They had enough staff and enough money to get that done this year. So with COVID, they were a little concerned about staffing. So, but they did get that done already. So that's good news. The airport board, which we approved today, was the perimeter fence, and I attended the Orangeville Township meeting via Zoom. It was pretty just straightforward business, so they did have a public hearing on a assessment for blacktopping, but other than that, it was just pretty straightforward general business. That's all I have.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioner Geiger. Commissioner Smelker.
Meeting cycle hasn't started yet for me.
Something running back here.
And somewhat shortage of. And these meetings will be just getting started, and they haven't notified us when the next one is, but Ben and I are going to keep up on it, and we will keep you apprised too.
I know that's a concern of the citizens in Prairieville Township too,
Mhm.
so.
Should be of all townships.
I just throw them in the truck and we go to town, because by the time the ambulance gets to us, we've already been to town and back. So I live in the middle of everything, 8 miles from Battle Creek, and I can't get an ambulance to my house within half an hour. So thank you, sir. Anything else?
That's it.
Commissioner Gibson. Yeah. Your meetings come later. Commissioner Parker.
Yeah, we've had a couple meetings, executive committee meetings, and also Parks and Rec meetings. We've got some exciting things happening. We've got some bids back from two companies about a campground. At it, and also to see what the financial aspects of it would be as far as income coming in and whatever. We feel that it could bring a lot of more events possibly to the park. It could kind of help pay its way in different things and attract more people to the area, not just for Charlton Park, but for all of Berry County. So we're kind of excited about that. We have to just so we may in the future be coming to you for some advice on things, and so that's up in the air right now. Township meeting was canceled because of Labor Day, so it'll be next Monday, and have a village of Middleville meeting tonight.
Commissioner Jackson.
All set, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Limited public comment. Any member of the public wishing to address the board may do so for up to 3 minutes.
Good morning. I'm Patricia Rail, the village manager for the Village of Middleville, and I appreciate your help and assistance with our wastewater treatment plant expansion project. So thank you very much for helping us make that possible. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other limited public comment this morning? Hearing none, is there any other business to come before the board? David?
Just a quick question. This is in regards to these wonderful microphones that everyone loves so much. We've been thinking about replacing them with lavaliers, which are clip-ons that would clip on your lapel or whatever. The issue, I guess, one of the issues with those is sometimes you can forget that they're on. They would have a mute button and you could just push, but I just wondered what your feelings are about, I guess you'd have a choice if I buy a set of those, but then we get rid of this issue of this, and so I just, what are your feelings on being comfortable having that mic there? You just have to remember to turn it off. That's
Especially during a break.
yes.
Commissioner Parker. But that doesn't always mean we do so.
Yeah.
Where is your microphone?
Literally.
But the question is, can Jack hear you?
Well,
Can the people on the recording hear you?
I suggest that we talk directly into the microphone and we tell people that's how they have to use it. And I think that would make things a lot easier because I'm sure everybody can hear me right now because I'm talking into the microphone for people to hear.
But this issue doesn't just affect us in this room. This issue affects us in chambers as well.
well,
Because we sit like this and nobody can hear you over the microphone because you're not directly
yeah. I mean,
in
that's
the
a good
mic.
point. The reality is that if we didn't have microphones in this room, we could probably all get by. But for recording,
We have to have
you have to,
better quality mics.
yeah. And these are doing a good job as long as they're.
We just need more of them. We need a couple more.
We do need a couple more, and one is out of service right now, but we could use a couple more on top of that. So anyway, I could get, if there's any of you that prefer, you could just let me know after the meeting or whatever, and I could get a small number of the lapel mics as well. They're not overly expensive.
They're not, and they're not hard to use. Most everybody wears ties or something that they could be clipped to, I've used them
Yeah,
for
so
years.
if any of you are interested in that, we could go that direction. That's all I wanted.
Thank you, sir. Any other thing that needs to come before the board today? There being no further business and without objection, the board will now adjourn.